Welcome to the pages of Codex Xule. Tonight, I was thinking, I was at work and I was thinking, what is one thing that CSM, uh, can definitely leverage the Chaos Space Marine Codex? What kind of factor or tactic or unit uh, is available to us that can kind of leverage our army against the meta? And I guess a particular tactic came to mind, and that is to focus on popping vehicles. And I say this because, let's take a Chimera, a Rhino and a Wave Serpent. Wave Serpents they're a big deal. You might want to be popping those anyways, because they just do so much damage. But let's say, we do pop it. Well, what happens to the guys inside? Most likely they're going to take some losses because the added explosions. They might get pinned. They might fall back. They have to pass two morale checks. But the biggest thing is they are in the open. Now they may have a 5-up cover save from a rune, but assuming that they're not pinned, they're not falling back, they are in the open. And when a unit's like that, especially, whether it be a tactical squad, a guardsman squad, a command squad, a dire avengers, whatever, even a chaos space marine squad, when a unit's out in the open like that, they're highly vulnerable. Highly vulnerable. Most likely it's transporting a troop choice, so objective capacity is lowered on your opponent's edge. Um, it's it's something that totally almost nullifies that whole unit. Even an immobilization is also very beneficial to target for, to focus your firepower towards an enemy. But, so I guess when you shoot at a vehicle, you kind of want to shoot at it until it's either immobilized um, or wrecked. I guess there's only two. Mobilized or wrecked. Because then, especially if it's a transport, well, only if it's a transport, the guys inside come out. And when that happens, like I said, they have to pass a ton, two morale checks. They have to, see how many of them actually died. And they'll probably fail one of those two checks. And if they don't, everything's okay, they're in the open. And when they're in the open, they can be shot at. So they're more or less nullified. And this kind of goes for all transports, except drop pods and some other ones. And to prepare for drop pods, because obviously they don't really matter to transport too much. They don't have the same kind of lasting effect as like a Rhino or a Chimera or a Wave Serpent or a truck or a battle wagon. Um, it's the guys come out, you know what's going to happen. You can probably guess where they're going to come out, and it's important to prepare for that. So to prepare for that, in my lists, I don't want to say always, but it's often that I will take the brand of Scalathrax and at least 2 Doom Sirens on my Noise Marines. That's because no matter, even if they drop like 3 drop pods, if you position your 2 Doom Sirens and your brand correctly, that you should live. You should live, especially because both of those systems, those platforms are they're fearless on the Lord and the Noise Marines. You should live, and those things are huge catalysts in taking out drop pod things, and it kind of goes to show how it kind of proves my point more that okay, a drop pod comes down, one or two, and you can kind of pick them off because they're in your territory, like they're in your base killing your dudes, but there's only a couple of them, let's say 20 Marines come down, which is a lot, but if they're right in front of your gun lines and you have the tools to take them out, they're going to be wiped off. And they're going to be wiped off handily. Because 20 Marines don't go as far as they used to. They really don't. Even in a book like ours, which is not, I'm not going to say it's weak, but it's not at the top of, fire output. Even our book has ample firepower to take those Marines out or severely weaken them so they're not at critical mass anymore. And the same concept applies to, like I was saying at the beginning, if you were to destroy a vehicle like turn 1 or turn 2 or when it's in the midfield, because now those guys are out and your whole army, more or less, well, I don't want to say your whole army, but your big guns can target them, and they don't have their box to protect them. And obviously, if it happens early, let's say you get it lucky with, your first weapon battery system, your first unit shooting and it blows up whatever transporter may be, you have all the rest of your army to nullify the unit that got out, assuming they don't fail their tests and all that. So, I guess, I want to wrap up with, the point of this video was to illuminate how units outside of transports are especially vulnerable, especially with the arms race we have going on now in the current meta. Even a lower tier codex, nope, even a non-top tier codex such as ours has enough firepower. Pretty much any army book has enough firepower to deal with 1 or 2 stranded, disembarked either by choice from a drop pod or disembarked from, an explode transport vehicle. Has enough firepower to deal with those units and to nullify them and to pick them off piecemeal. But I guess it's also, on the flip side of that, it also happens to us, obviously. We're not immune from this. And to counter it, when you move a transport, think to yourself, what would happen if it blew up here? What would my choices be? What's the likelihood my guys are going to run away, depending on what unit's inside and all that stuff. Would they be able to withstand the storm? And for that reason, it's not a bad idea, because, take a step back, we have rhinos and land raiders. Cool, okay. We have rhinos and land raiders. Rhinos are more common than land raiders, so, when I take units and rhinos, either Chaos Marines or Noise Marines mostly, I'm not afraid to drive them move them as far as I can into terrain. Because, let's say the thing does blow up, first of all, you're getting a cover save on the vehicle, but you're also getting a cover save on the guys who have to get out, assuming that things, don't go as planned. And let's say they're pinned, at least now they're pinned and covered. So it kind of mitigates a little bit of that, that just out in the open, that's common, or at least not, or I should say it's not uncommon to happen. So, just playing your army smarter and thinking about the things I said can help you when using our non-top tier codex. A lot of armies, a couple armies have the luxury of not really needing a lot of tactics. They can just kind of point and click. That's a topic for a different day. But with ours, we have a lot of firepower, but it's limited. It's very limited. We have to be wise with it. We have to be wise with it. And this is some of my wisdom I am imparting onto you. You may now close the pages of Codex Xule.